Andy, welcome to Norwich.
Thank you.
I guess the first question is why?
For the project that was sold by Flo and the club and everything that I've seen since I've been here. I think I said it in the opening bits with the club. The facilities here are unbelievable. So just to be able to work here with Flo, with the players, with the staff here is exciting. So yeah, I'm looking to kick on and hopefully lead us to where we all want to get to.
The job advert said promotion. It's clear that is the what is on offer this season, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, and I've done that a few times. So yeah, I know what to do and I know what's needed to do. So yeah, it's not a problem.
That's confidence. That's what the fans will want to hear. What's your style of play?
To win football matches. That's why we get promoted. So it's football's a game to be won. So like anything, if you're playing Monopoly with your family on Christmas Day, you want to win, right? So that's what we want to do. We've got to find a way to win. We've got to make sure we earn the right to play first. And once we do that, we'll probably produce something that people want to see as well. And something I said to a lot of teams that I've worked with previously is go and put on a show. So, the first and foremost, we want to try and find a way to win. The opposition have a big say on it. They're going to try and stop us playing, but we've got to earn the right. And if we can do that, we'll start playing some good football and something that the fans will enjoy coming to watch us at Carrow Road or the Nest. But yeah, the main goal is to win every game that we play.
The team almost did not lose every game last season. That must be such a foundation to build on.
Yeah, it is. I think speaking to Flo and speaking to the players, and they're full of determination to make sure that they can go one better this season. They'll take the lessons that they learnt last year in that season, because it was a great run for them, and to unfortunately lose the last game is just a difficult one. But once the league is gone, you can understand the mindsets and things like that and things. So we're looking to go one better, and ultimately what the players went through last season, we'll use all of that this season with a little bit of input from me to hopefully go one better. But we've got to make sure that we get things right in pre-season, that we work well over the next few weeks. They've got to get to know me and me to know them. Hopefully we're in a very good place come August the 18th. That's the aim at the moment.
Newcastle was your previous club. You're only there a year. What's the reason? It's a big move as well. Newcastle's not just down the road.
It's a big move if you don't like driving. Look, for me, Newcastle was a fantastic project to be a part of, and to go in there, and we were the first team to go fully professional in the National League, in the National League North there, and the infrastructure that Amanda's put in place and Murdad within the football club there at Newcastle's, it's like nothing else in the country really. So, we did what we achieved, what we wanted to do, which was to get promotion. But for me and just my own ambitions, I want to be a head coach, and back to where I was when I was at Nottingham Forest as well, and other clubs where I'm leading an environment, a project where everyone's thriving and wants to be a part of something that's going to build and grow. And that's exactly what I found here at Norwich, speaking to Flo and Ben and everybody here. That's exactly why I want to be here, really.
You've spoken there about the clubs you've been at. They are big clubs.
Not as big as Norwich.
This is the same, isn't it?
Yeah, not as big as Norwich. Norwich is a huge club. You've got a owner who loves the area, loves the club, loves the city, loves the club, and has now got investment elsewhere as well, which is fantastic for us, across the country and globally as well. So Ben coming in, Johannes, myself, the direction the Flo wants to take the women's side, and everything's there to keep progression and keep striving, and we've just got to make sure that we work well during the training nights and we work well on a Sunday to get there. So what we're going to do is slow. It'll be slow week on week, and we'll be at the the coal face trying to graft. But what the club is doing, outside of that is fantastic. And I think I said it again. Something else I said was the facilities here are like a secret. They're as good as anywhere I've ever seen. It's better than a lot of places I've worked at previously. And yeah, I think it's something that should be celebrated, and you really should be proud of it. What happens here in Norfolk and what we can do, and hopefully that mixed in with how we'll work and play this year will be successful.
You've said Norwich is a huge club. It is. It's a huge club that deserves a Championship/WSL team, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Speaking to Flo when we were in the interview process, I don't mind saying this. I didn't realise the amount of players that have come out of Norfolk that have gone on to play within the Championship, the WSL, and it's something that we want to continue. I know that the club's produce some good players, and we've got a lot of youngsters in the side that have come through the pathway. So I'm keen to work with them and to help them hopefully get a little bit better and learn one or two things from me, and no doubt I'll learn from them as well in regards to what it means to live and to breathe and to work in Norwich for Norwich, and that's something I've always wanted to do when I was at Nottingham, Oxford, and even Newcastle. I'm from the northeast, but didn't ever live in Newcastle. It's something that I've always liked to do, is get to know the area, get to know the people, and what it means to work for the football club and ultimately show pride in how the fans and how you guys all want Norwich to be, and that's all I want to do. I want to make sure that we're in the best place possible, and like I said at the top, winning football matches is going to help that.
You've spoken there that you've already met the players. Mm-hmm. How was their reaction to you? How's the squad looking?
Well, they were delighted. So that was a good start. If they didn't show me that, I think I'd be saying to Flo, I think we're struggling here. So they were delighted with that. They were good, and a lot of the players, they speak to people, and a few of the girls know players that I'd worked with previously, and fortunately they'd said good things as well. So it was a good starting point. We just had tests in the first couple of nights, so it's been nice for me just to walk around and speak to people, introduce myself to the staff as well as the players, and tonight we start working. We're on the pitch, and so we're looking forward to getting the balls out and start playing.
Will you be keeping your coaching staff as it is, the ones you've inherited? I know Ethan's been here a long time. The last 3 managers he's been the assistant coach for. All the staff will be the same. We're again, that was something that the club were keen to install and have, and there's a good foundation. Speaking to Will, Jill, and Ethan, they're very good people, and they want the best for Norwich, and again, they just want that little bit of direction and focus in what we want to try and do and achieve, and for me, they're the anchor points for me. I can use them because they know the area, they know the players, they know what it means to be here, and so for me, it's only a positive that you're working with staff that know the club, know the area, and ultimately we'll work well together. The conversations and the little bits I've had already has been good. So I can already tell that we'll work really well together. 2 league games here at Carrow Road last season. I assume there'll be a few more this season. You must really want to get out there. Yeah,
Flo's just showed me the in and around the ground and the changing rooms and stuff like that. And again, it's one of them, I suppose, sad things that a lot of us football fans love when you walk to a stadium. You just, I'm in awe of the pitch and walking around, and it's the same any stadium that I've ever been to. It's the same thing. If I go on holiday and you find like Menorca's home ground and whatever, you kind of like to go just to see what it's like. So it's the same. Walking around here was fantastic, and to see the guys working on the pitch, it'll look lovely for the guys come that 17th, I think the first home game is for the blokes, and when we get to play on here, it'll be absolutely fantastic. So if we can get as many thousands fans into Carrow Road, that'll add to the atmosphere, and that'd be great for the players, and that's ultimately what it's for. If they're able to experience it twice and hopefully a few more times in the future, then it'll be great for them, because having played at the City Ground, St James's Park, they're fantastic iconic stadiums, and Carrow Road is exactly the same. So I can't wait to be stood on the sideline and watching them put on a show, as I said earlier.
The Lionesses come here next week. Will you be watching, getting a few hints and tips?
Well, they want to watch our training sessions to get a few of them, to be fair to them. But we'll be there. We'll have a presence here. Unfortunately, I won't be at the game. It's my son's birthday, so I'll be at that. But the ground itself is geared up, and for the Lionesses to come here, and obviously Lauren Hemp is a local girl, so her playing back here will be fantastic for her. And the Lionesses at the moment, it's like a touring roadshow. They pack a stadium, and it's fantastic. They were recently at St James's Park. I think they had close to 50,000 there, and it's great that they can play around the country, and fans from around the country can come and watch the best players play. And hopefully they'll put on a show for the fans here at Norwich. Hopefully it'll be better than Take That.
And finally, what is it that you're going to say to the fans? This is your moment here. You've got a minute. Sum up why the fans should get behind you for the next season.
Just a minute.
Whatever you want.
Like I said at the top, we're here to win games, and it's game by game. We're going to earn the right to play first and foremost, and so we're going to be fighting and battling for every ball, every pass and every tackle. If we get that right in the first 20-30 minutes of every game, then it's time to put on a show, and hopefully we'll do that every week. So players are enjoying playing in it, fans are enjoying watching it, and then we're celebrating at the end.
Andy, best of luck.
Thank you.
Lovely job. Do you want to do Andy now and then we both do Flo, or?
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah? Lovely job. If that's okay with everyone else,
Andy, you said you've had a chance to meet the players. Have you sort of seen them play at all, or been in a football setting with them yet?
Obviously, in the training ground when they're going through the testing and just speaking to them, and yeah, we're not that they enjoyed it, but they had to do the 30-15 fitness test. So, seeing them go through that, it's a physical test, but ultimately it gives you an idea of the mindset. And everyone smashed it. It was a great couple of evenings with them. As a part of the interview process, we had to watch a couple of games as well and get to know them. So I've seen a few clips from last season and a couple of games. But for me, it's a blank canvas, and tonight's the first time we get to see them play. And ultimately, I'm going to want to put my style and my ideas on what we've got here. So, that's for me to get to work and know. So, yeah, that'll start tonight, and I'm sure they're going to enjoy that.
What do you make of the quality of those players? Are you pretty pleased with that as a starting point?
I think the results speak for themselves. One loss last season, and the way the season went, it's a very good team to come into, and I'm very fortunate that I get to walk into a group of players that are so together, and ultimately are coming off a season like that. So it's a good start.
And so I think we can probably expect maybe a couple of transfers and some player signings. I don't know if you and Flo have spoken much about that already. Yeah,
look, we're always speaking about people that could come in, might be available, might be something that we want to look at, but. I've said this, and I've said this at every club I've worked at. The players that come in have got to be better than what we have. So there's no point just signing players because it excites, anyone that they're bringing in this player, that player. Sometimes that's going to upset the rhythm of the team, the environment that's currently built. So it's got to be the right fit throughout. And if they're better than one of the players in what would consider the starting 11 when we get to that, then we'll have a look at it. But that's for us to deal with and the football club to deal with. So, that's more of a longer process nowadays than it probably has been in the past. With the way the game's going and the amount of data that's available. And ultimately, you've got to try and get good people through the door first and foremost. And then if we can do that, then we'll see where they go. But right now, it's just for me assessing the squad where we are. There's nothing impending that we're going to announce in this press conference. So.
I know you said that getting results is sort of your priority, but in terms of how you want the team to play, I know you spoke about sort of battling first and earning the right to play. Do you feel that you've got the squad to do that, or do you want a couple that maybe fit that mould a little bit?
No, I think anyone can do that. Any player that you work with, you've got to give them the belief that they can do that, and that's my job ultimately. In terms of the style of play, look, it'll be one where in possession we want to make sure that we're keeping possession of the ball as far away from our goal as possible. If we're playing in their half with the ball in and around the final third, that's ideal, because if we lose the ball, then we can press, we can be aggressive, we can win the ball as high as we can, and hopefully start that cycle again. So the game of football doesn't change too much. It's had a lot of fancy words attached to it, like transitions and things like that. But ultimately, the game of football is the same as it was when it was invented. It's still 11 players. It's still on a white lines. There's still 2 goals to one to defending, one to scoring. And for me, I try and keep it as simple as possible, because I'm a simple guy from the northeast, so it's more for my benefit than anything else. But you've got to get that across to the players, and hopefully they go and do it. But put it this way, it won't just be kick and punt the ball forward. There'll be a lot that goes into it. But it's a simple game that needs to be won in the right way and the right manner.
Obviously, you've come from a higher level at Newcastle in terms of the quality of that football and the players. Do you think it will take you any time to adjust, or have you got enough experiences at different levels that sort of you're used to different sorts of players?
I think if it's quoted, they were your words, that they were a higher level at Newcastle. So they're your words, Sam, not mine. The players here at Norwich are fantastic, and what I've seen in the clips and everything else, they're a good set of players, and the way that I worked with the players at Newcastle or Forest in terms of league league structure, they were in a higher position, but I'm not going to change the way that I work because, I've come to Norwich, which at the moment is in Tier 4. We won't be here too long. It'll be within a few seasons. We'll be fighting and battling as high as we can, and that's just through the work that we're going to go through and the hard work that I know I can produce and that the players can produce. Looking at the fixtures and the footage that we've seen from last season, it's a really good group of players, and I'm excited to work with them. So it doesn't matter where I've worked previously. It's only a good thing for those players that I'm here and I'm excited to work with them. The experiences I've got working way back in sort of 2011, 2012 with the young players and the reserves at Arsenal, right the way through to Newcastle last season. It's only a benefit, and all that experience I can now pour into Norwich City.
Yeah, you mentioned the desire to sort of go up the leagues, and I wanted to finish by asking you about that. Obviously that's been the goal for a couple of years now, and I think 2 of your predecessors have failed to do that. Why do you think you can make the difference where maybe it hasn't been achieved before?
I think ultimately, once you've done it and once you've been through that process, you know what it's like. It's one of the things I do like to say is talk's cheap. We can talk all day about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and this and that and the other, but ultimately you've got to go out and show it. And I've been in a position, fortunately, where in the last 2 seasons I've got a number of trophy medals that I can say I know what I need to do to win matches to get us into that position. So I have that in my locker. Knowing the players and speaking to them and what they've got in terms of their experience is an unbelievable season last year. So you put them together, the work that we're going to produce as a team of staff, me, Ethan, Will and Jill and everybody else involved is only going to be positive. So that's what you've got to cling on to. Until you produce it, it's just hot air that we're talking. But I'm fortunate that I produced it. The girls have produced it last season. Only losing 1 game is unbelievable. It very rarely happens. Even in the last season with Newcastle, we lost a few fixtures. The year before with Nottingham Forest, when we won the league, we lost 3 fixtures. So what they did is fantastic as well. So you put all that together, and you've got a great recipe for success.
Stuff. Thanks, Andy.
Cheers, Sam.
Lovely. Well, I'll just sneak back in if that's all right. Lovely job. Right, perfect. Happy?
All good, Jack, yeah.
Sweet, lovely job. Flo, my first question to Andy was why Norwich? My first question to you is why Andy?
Look, we're super excited to have Andy in the building. We went through a really due diligent interview process, recruitment process, and look, Andy's experience, knowledge, appetite for growth stood out. We've just listened to him talk about all the experiences at some top class clubs who have been making waves in the women's game, and that's what we're trying to do as well. So every conversation I've had with Andy has been super positive around what is it that we need to do to get from this level to the next level, and how we make those, I guess, small but steady steps, but every 1% adds up. And super excited to have Andy in the building. His track record on player development and experience of how and what it takes to win is exceptional. So I can't wait just to see Andy get down to work with the players and the balls come out tonight on the pitch, and I know Andy's itching to get going, and so are the rest of the staff. And I'm really pleased that it's our first full-time head coach as well, which is a landmark moment. We'll look at the evolution of our women's programme here at the club. So we're making some real waves, and I'm delighted that Andy's joining us on the next step of the journey.
You mentioned their youth development. That's really important for a club like Norwich, isn't it? Because it is hard to attract people to Norfolk. Let's face it.
Exactly. Homegrown players and our talent in our area is unquestionable. We've got such a vast pool of talent here. One thing that Andy and I have spoken about from day one has been on the sheer quality of our youngsters in our squad, and how we continue to evolve that and continue to bring through the likes of Eloise Moran, Amber Locker, Charlotte Perner, all of these players that are the next generation, Lauren Hales. Excites me talking about their potential, and especially with Andy's experience around player development, but not just as footballers. Andy's got a real strong background in athletic development as well, and what we're trying to create at this club is not just footballers, it's people that are athletes that play football, because that's so important, not only for success on the pitch, but injury prevention, resilience, the whole package that goes into being a footballer these days. It's so much more than just stepping over the white line on a Sunday afternoon. So we're extremely excited with what we're building here and moving forward. player development is always going to be at the heart of what we do.
You said Andy's the first full-time manager. Are we going to start getting some players soon? You mentioned Eloise Moran. She's someone I want to see in a Norwich shirt for as long as possible.
Yeah, look, we've had some great discussions already. You know, we have a real strong recruitment strategy, which does centre around homegrown talent. So next year the squad will be based on our homegrown talent, and that will be a core of what we try and do. But yeah, you know, there's some exciting players that we'll see in a Norwich shirt next year. Some new faces as well, which, you know, we're delighted to have brought into the club already. So yeah, I guess keep yourselves posted, and more news to follow on that space.
How have you find dealing with transfers as well as hiring a manager at the same time? Because obviously Andy's only just come through the building. He particularly maybe hasn't had a chance to look at those players. Yeah,
you know, we operate as a club across the board that any player that plays for Norwich City plays for the club, you know, and we have a really clear recruitment strategy on who it is we want to bring in, but also what do we need within the squad. So, you know, it's always about finding a fine balance between what we need. You know, we've seen Anna Larkins last year hung up the boots, so to speak. So, you know, we've wanted to consciously make sure that we've got a balance between experience and, you know, up and coming emerging talent coming through, and I think we've got that and what we're building towards. And, you know, I think it's probably testament to what we've built here, that we've managed to attract a quality coach in Andy, and someone who has such a high potential to our club, and we're delighted for Andy to get started.
Andy has mentioned he's very excited to play at Carrow Road. What plans are there for next season?
Yeah, there'll be 2 games here minimum. That's already in the pipeline. It's massive for us. Games at Carrow Road have such an impact on our community, on our long-term plans. We see the success of, we've now had 3 games in the last 2 years here, let alone County Cup finals, and, you know, we've captured some real good data on who our audience is, what it is that they want to see as well, and we think that's important, that we create an event that they can come to and have a real sense of belonging, go home and want to come back again. It's really important for us, but ultimately, yes, you know, it's a football match as well, and, you know, I think to steal Andy's favourite quote, you know, pressures for car tyres, and the players still have to go out there and perform, but, you know, it should be an enjoyable moment as well, and we've had lots of practice at it now, and hopefully it's just ingrained in what we do.
Andy's mentality clearly is winning. Winning it seems to be his personality. It's a fantastic thing, and that is already installed in the club from last season. How disappointed are you that they didn't get that over the line? Because they were in a really strong position at the time that Martin Herdman left the club.
Yeah, I think you look back on last year and it was an excellent season. The players themselves, the staff behind, or the backroom staff behind the team as well. But I wouldn't say it was disappointing. I think there were so many learning bits to take from the season. You know, there was some hard-fought wins. You look at the hashtag game at home. You know, we took 4 points off AFC Wimbledon, who were the champions. So I think for us, you know, we look back on last season and think it was probably a case of what could have been. But look, you know, we're planning for the future and long-term strategy, and part of the reason why I was so keen to get Andy in as soon as possible was because, you know, we're building a sustainable and hopefully a stable strategy moving forward, and I'm delighted that Andy is now at the core and heart of that stability moving forward.
Do you regret the Martin Herdman decision at all?
I think when we look back on the decision, it was one that we had to make. For the long-term future stability of the club, it was something that was the right decision. Unfortunately, looking in from the outside, when things look all rosy, unbeaten in the league, but behind the scenes, sometimes it's not always the clear picture. And I had some really good, open, honest conversations with Martin. But I think in the end, it was, from both parties, it was the right decision, and it allowed us 4 to 5 months to do a real hard, thorough interview process. And, you know, I must say thank you to Scott as well for the fantastic work that he did, and he plays a real key role in the future of this club as our under-16s head coach as well. And, you know, I think from making that decision, and it was a hard decision, but it was the right decision for the club and for the players and for the future. And we've now landed ourselves with a top-class coach in Andy, and somebody who's going to push and move us forward.
I mentioned it to Andy, I'll have to mention it to you. on the application it said promotion. Are you expecting promotion this season?
Look, I think I said this in my very first interview when I joined the club. We're not here to make the numbers up. You know, we're a club in this area and across the country. You know, we're a club with, you know, big presence. We have a real core, great fan group and supporters behind us. And yeah, we want to go out and win some matches. But ultimately, we want to have a good time when we do it as well, and we want to bring people on the journey with us. And look, last season we were so close, so you know, why not this season? You know, we're investing into the women's programme. There's some real exciting steps and evolution next season. We're increasing the training nights, so we're going from 2 to 3. Obviously embedded at the training centre, and there's some real exciting steps that we're introducing around nutrition, athletic performance, how we're using performance analysis software. So from my perspective and from the club's infrastructure and support, we're evolving our programme into a real strong, almost tier 3 programme. And for me, that's exciting because it allows the work that I do and that we do as a club behind the performance staff and the players, just allows Andy, the staff, the players to just crack on and do what they need to do. And you know, I think we're a great club that almost you know, shows it by example around, like, you know, how we should operate. And that's credit to the club because it's a fantastic place to try and push and evolve a women's programme.
I spoke to Ben Napper a couple of weeks ago and asked him a question on women's football and said, a little bit of money, that will go far, and he was open to the idea. How supportive has Ben been to the women's programme?
Ben's been superb. You know, Ben supported me with the recruitment process, and like I said, it was a long, hard and thorough recruitment process, and having somebody like Ben who's been at probably the best women's club in the country in Arsenal and has learnt from all of their best practices was just superb. You know, and ironically we were both going through you know, recruitment processes for head coaches you know, only a few weeks ago, and so it's been great to learn from him and understand, you know, how to do this as well, and delighted that we've welcomed Andy into the building.
And I'll have to ask you about the Lionesses, and obviously your friend Lauren Hemp is coming to town. Great to see her, I would assume, and it's great to have this on that pitch.
Well, it's superb. You look at the Lionesses and the presence and the footprint that they have around the country at the moment. To be able to bring them here to Norwich and Norfolk, and you know, it's going to be a sellout in 10 days' time. It's amazing to see. You know what Lauren's done since she grew up here and left here. She's gone on to some amazing things, and it's brilliant to be able to welcome her back. It's a bit of a homecoming. What a brilliant opportunity it is for players within our pathway and our homegrown talent to come here, Carrow Road, on the 12th of July and aspire to be in her shoes. You know, we hope that they aspire to be her shoes, but also wearing a Norwich City shirt. But look, it's going to be a fantastic event for the community, for the club, and for women's sport in general.
One player who I do know that was part of the England set-up and has been back in Norfolk and is a Norfolk girl is Amy Palmer. Any chance of her signing for Norwich?
Well, I think give us a couple of years and potentially might be able to try and get something over the line. But yeah, you look at players like Amy and Lauren and so many others that are now playing in the Super League or Championship football. You know, that's credit to the pathway that we have, but it's also, you know, it's a benchmark for where we need to get to, because it's not as if we don't have the talent and we don't have the, you know, the pool of players to do it. It's just that we need to, you know, make our own mark and climb the pyramid, so to speak, and get into a position where, yeah, we can keep our best homegrown players. And, you know, the likes of the future Amy Palmers or the future Lauren Hemps are wearing number 11 or number 6 for Norwich City. But yeah, look, you know, who knows what can happen in the future, and you know, that's our marker. That's what we're trying to get to. You know, we're trying to aspire to climb the pyramid and be competing against the best in the country.
Thanks, mate.
Flo, you mentioned that you and Ben obviously were both in the recruitment process at the time. What did you learn from him, and was there anything he could learn from you? Obviously, being his first appointment as a head coach.
Yeah, I think, from me, I get so much support and guidance from Ben and the rest of the executive committee at the club. It's such a well-oiled club in terms of the support that's given, and yeah, I think for me it was brilliant that when we started the interview process that I had somebody to bounce some ideas off, and then obviously probably just under 2 weeks when we announced Andy, it was brilliant to finally get it over the line, and yeah, I guess it sets the mark for the season that's to come.
I'll ask you a similar question to what I asked Andy in terms of why he can be the man to make the difference when maybe others haven't been able to get Norwich over the line in terms of promotion.
Yeah, look, we've invested heavily into the women's programme moving into next season. First full-time head coach with ourselves, we're increasing the training load, all the support around the team as well, and the very first conversation I had with Andy was around we are seeking and craving some stability, and we want somebody who can grow with us, evolve the programme with us. And Andy's got some really, really good ideas on how we can do it. His experience speaks for itself, being in some top class environments and knows what it takes to win, but also knows what success could look like. So yeah, I think from my side, we're just super excited to get going this season.
You mentioned that he's going to be the first full-time head coach of the women's team. What was behind that decision and how important could it be?
Yeah, it's just another step in the growth and evolution of the department. To be able to bring somebody in full time, I think we see that in terms of the resource that teams across the country are able to put into it. When you've got the right people in the right place, driving the bus, so to speak, in the right direction, waves start to happen, and we start to make some real positive change. And that's what we're hoping to do. There's Andy alluded to it. We had such a good season last year. Andy's going to come in and put some fresh ideas and shape it to the way that he wants to shape it, which I'm excited about. But it's got real potential, and I guess the message from me would be that everyone behind the club is supporting our women's programme, and we want to keep evolving it and keep pushing it forward.
Yeah, one of those people is Mark Atanasio, and I know this was sort of a couple of months ago, but it's the first time we've spoken to you since there was, I think, a £200,000 investment from him in the women's side. I mean, how big is that, and how pleased are you that you've managed to secure those funds? Yeah,
exactly. It's for us as a club, we're all about long-term stability, long-term sustainability. So for us, we've been able to, like I said, we've invested in the programme into next year and beyond, around increasing the training load, increasing the contact time for players, bringing in expertise and specialised staff like Andy, and also we're doing some really good work at the training ground. We're embedded into the operations there. We operate out of an open plan office where we've got experts in different pillars of the game, whether it's sports science, psychology, nutrition, which is credit to the club and credit to what we're building.
Do you think that puts any extra pressure to get results pretty quickly, given that sort of investment that's stepped up and the focus on it has stepped up?
No, I think you look at a season, it's always a marathon, not a sprint, and I know that's cliche, but Andy spoke about it in the seasons that he's had success with Newcastle and Nottingham Forest before. You're never going to go a season, perfect and win every single game and never concede a goal. What's important for us is that we've got some real clear drivers for success around our player development. Ultimately we want to win games, and we're not here to make up the numbers, but it's going to take time, and Andy's just walked through the door, and we want to get him embedded and get the players to understand how Andy works, but also how the players work as well, and that's vice versa with the staff as well. So yeah, I think there's ultimately some lines in the sand of where we want to get to, but it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Yeah, I'll finish by asking you about transfers. You sort of hinted that maybe some bits of business are already done or on the way there. How much are you hoping to do this summer before the season kicks off?
We don't really need to change too much. We had a season last year where the squad were excellent. We had just over 50% of total match minutes were played by homegrown players. So for us, that's what we want to continue to strive towards, and we hope that number increases over time as well as our best homegrown talent continues to flourish and develop and evolve and reach their potential with us as a club. So yeah, I think there'll be a few new faces, but they'll fit seamlessly into the club, and for us, culture's a big thing as well. So are they coming in to support and build and evolve the programme, and keep posted, and hopefully it'll be some exciting news drip fed as we move through pre-season into the season.
Awesome. Thanks, Flo.
No worries.